Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode, or another talk, should I say,
of Talk Junkies getting super funky with it edition. Only for gold members. This particular podcast is only for gold members. Gold members, we've decided amongst the Talk Junkie universe, are people that have simply searched us on YouTube or subscribed. You are a gold member.
Yes, the 50 people who have subscribed to us, you are a gold member. Make it two, my man. What's going on? What's going on, Jesse?
Nothing much. Life's good. It's been rainy as fuck here in Kansas City.
A lot of rain, man.
A whole bunch of rain, man. It's good. The environment is just getting wet on itself, you know?
Yeah.
That's
the ecosystem is thriving here in the Midwest.
Yes. Precipitation is still a thing. It's proven.
Yeah,
here.
We're not in LA where it's dry AF.
Are there still fires and shit going on in LA? That's awful, man. If it is.
It is.
Those fires are awful.
It's a possibility.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the fires in LA? Or you want to...
No,
we're super fucking winging it tonight. We're doing it. This is unscripted.
Raw material.
Yeah, straight raw material.
Yeah, like as raw as it gets. Not really. I don't really want to talk about fires, man. I mean, fires are fires.
Not talking about fires.
Yeah, if it's dry, it's dry.
I watched The Jungle Book the other day, which I was very disappointed with. Super pumped to hear Bill Murray do some voice acting, which was good. But just wasn't feeling The Jungle Book. Like I thought it was going to be reminiscent.
Not the cartoon, right?
No, not the animation, because that's what I knew from my childhood. So I thought this was going to be like a big, like reminiscent upon my childhood kind of thing. And they had the same songs from The Jungle Book. And I love everything that's Disney. But I got to be honest, I was a little disappointed with The Jungle Book. You know,
what was bad about it?
It was too realistic. Like the animation, or the CGI was like really good in what they did, but I think they need to make it more cartoony. Like it wasn't cartoony enough, I think, was my problem.
Wasn't
it took me away from it.
Wasn't that the point of the movie? Was
to make it live action, like how they did like Beauty and the Beast? Yeah, and I get that. I just don't think it worked well with the Jungle Book storyline. I rate it. I mean, it was still good. It's still worth watching, but I wasn't big on it. I love the cartoon. The cartoon's absolutely amazing. But
a lot of Disney movies are really good, and a lot of them are.
All Disney movies are really good. I'm having trouble thinking of a Disney movie that I didn't, enjoy.
It's very true. They're fun to watch. It's definitely a necessary part of childhood is to watch Disney movies.
Yes. But
at the same time, I don't really necessarily know if watching TV is even a good thing at all for childhood.
I mean, you can have too much. Like you can have too much of a good thing, I guess if it's too much.
Are we to the point now where, like, people who grew up in like the early 1900s or even before then, when they didn't have access to television and maybe it was just telegrams and newspapers, like what was childhood like then? Like you were outside, you were doing whatever you wanted to do. Crime wasn't that high. Populations weren't that big in cities. Parents weren't afraid to let you go out and wander a little bit, right? Now it's the complete opposite. You keep your kids inside. You monitor what they watch, and they're watching a lot. Like the TV's always on.
This is a big question. You're talking about like censorship of kids and everything, right? About like what you expose them to.
Kind of.
If you're talking about like, has the world changed to where you got to lock your doors at night, as opposed to like back in like the 1950s, you didn't have to lock your doors, you could let your kids just run to the street. That is very much different. I don't exactly know where that fucking stemmed from, just with shitty people, and that is scary. Like you can't, which kids still can go run around, but not to the extent that they were, back then. I think more brutal things are happening, especially to kids, which is absolutely awful. Like there's human trafficking fucking happening right now, which is on a rise, which is absolutely
and it's been in Kansas City too.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, it's
your girlfriend had like a slight episode, where she was
a little bit. Yeah, at the mall, she would have to relay that story back over the podcast, but yeah, there's some scary shit out there, especially for the female population. I'm not saying it doesn't happen to guys, but it's definitely, it's some scary shit, man.
It is, but
these are some awful motherfuckers, and they need to be taken out. They need to be sniped.
What's the mindset of someone who's a criminal? Yeah, like I really need this. I really need it truly that bad. Like whether you're young or you're old. Obviously, if you're older, you're more in tune with life as opposed to someone who's younger. But even if you're young, where is it really a broken family that fucks someone up like that to where they want to commit a crime? I mean, you've committed a crime, I've committed a crime. We both have.
Yeah.
According to the United States of America or our judicial system, we've committed a crime.
Yes.
But I think that there are people out there who've committed bigger crimes, more serious crimes than we could ever imagine. And I'm just curious what their mindset is. And I know that you don't know that.
It's all, I think, fuck, man, this is such a big thing. And if there was just a general, if you can get to a core of it, it's something that could be fixed. It comes down to the individual. Really, it does. It's just the individual. Human beings have the capability of being corrupted. And it's all to the extent of the individual, of the, being allowed to be corrupted, because you can go down to a path, and anything you allow momentum in your life can start building, and it could end up really fucking bad for obviously smaller cases. But in cases like you ask yourself, what does it take for an individual to disregard human life so much to where you can kidnap them and enslave them for a life of pretty much torment for financial gain, and be able to do that kind of shit? That's something I have trouble like fathoming. Like I'm sure you have the same issue with that, even fathoming. Like, how much money would it take for me to literally just know somebody's being constantly tortured and in pain, for my probably fairly small monetary gain at the fucking time kind of shit. No, it takes somebody who I would like to think has been through some fucking shit and needs some help. But that's rough. That whole thing is very, very rough. To try to come up with an origin, it's pretty much like or where does like evil come from, basically, is what you're asking. Like, that's difficult, man.
That is difficult.
It's difficult.
Because there's evil in all of us. But
yes, yeah. Every human is corruptible. Every human's corruptible. It comes down to our own morality and our own decision.
And I think that that's only based upon the society that we live in. Because I know that you disagree with me, but if money were not a thing, I don't think evil would be as prevalent as it is. Now, with the amount of population that we have, do we really have any other way of living besides having a monetary system? I don't think that that's possible. So I think that we're left with this as an option, and that's called the United States of America and an open democracy, and just having what we have now is life. And I think that we're going to be faced with this issue at all times. There's always going to be evil. There's always going to be people doing this shit. And it's frustrating. There's no way that law enforcement can keep up.
Oh, man, that's so much heavy shit right there to fucking try to compilate or fucking whatever fucking think about in your brain and try to figure all that fucking shit out. It's difficult on a bunch of fucking levels. Like, and this is really, and it's really depressing to think that there is no, and this is almost like some Christian religion bullshit I'm about to say right here. But everybody has some kind of fuck up in them. Everybody has some kind of like sin, like what they would equate is like fucking sin or whatever. Nobody's perfect. Everybody fucking makes mistakes and shit. And it's weird to see individuals who have the opportunity to learn from small mistakes and better themselves from it and become better and hopefully prevent in the long run what they did through educating other people and being a good influence to like their kids or whatever, their community. and educating on them that, hey, this is not some shit you should do because I went down this fucking road. Or allow it to build, and then they can fucking continue to do fucking bad shit, kind of thing. I don't think if you eliminated money, and if money wasn't a thing, people would still be evil. We would find a way to fucking be evil. We are very self-centered individuals, which makes it difficult. Like even like you could have this philosophical debate about, do you really do anything that isn't strictly for you in the end of it? Like even like you give a homeless man $20, well, it's not you worrying about the homeless man. Is it you worried about the homeless man having $20, or is it that satisfaction that you've helped an individual out? Kind of thing.
No, it comes down to it's hard to answer that question because of the society that we live in and what we've grown up to know as America. All we know is what America is, and that's what we. What is America? That's all we know.
What is America?
And allegedly, it's the land of the free. In my opinion, I have lived a very fruitful life. I've had a lot of opportunities. I'm able to do whatever I want. I'm able to pursue whatever I want.
That's what America was supposed to be, or you could even say technically still is.
Right.
Was supposed to be a place of opportunity.
If I want to run
above anything else, right. It was strictly a place of opportunity where you allowed people to be as free as you possibly could allow them, up until hurting other individuals.
So when it comes down to crime and corruption, what I'm saying is, regardless of what America is supposed to be or what we're supposed to know it is, or how we're supposed to react to it, is the fact that this all we know. You know, and that's all anyone knows whenever they're born into this life, whether you have a broken family or not. That's the saddest part to me, is no matter where you live, whether it's in the ghetto or you're poor. I grew up poor, man. Like, people can come at me all day and say, you never lived in the ghetto. Okay, well, that's fine. I grew up a very poor person. Like, yes, I'm white. That's cool, whatever. I was never privileged. I was a very poor person, and I still found a way to manage to get myself to where I am today. So when it comes to people and say that, you know, they came from those backgrounds and they didn't have an opportunity to succeed in life, I disagree. And I say that that's false, and that there's no way you should find a way into crime or corruption based upon how you grew up as a person, you know. And I was in a broken family, okay? So I hate when people try and use that as an excuse. Now, to the extreme of what I've seen when I was a child, maybe it wasn't as much as someone else, and maybe that's what makes them choose crime. I don't know. You know?
I see what you're saying. I've always kind of had this philosophy to where the universe is kind of works off this. You only get what you put into shit.
Do you think the universe accounts for someone who grows up extremely poor or with a family without a father and it's just a mother and she's a crack hoe? Do you think that the universe accounts for that? I don't know.
No, the universe doesn't account for that. But you also learn, you have the opportunity to take away from that a bunch of good qualities that end up for the same way that you could sit down and listen to a motivational speaker and them tell you, hey, this is everything you need to do in life to succeed. You can also sit down with somebody who's failed in everything and listen to them on how they failed in everything, and you can also take away from things on how not to do things, and then come up with a good game plan on how to approach your actual life.
At what age do you do that, though?
Oh man, that's difficult because you have human emotion that's tied into that, and that's really where it becomes misconstrued, is because negative encounters like that tend to be more emotional, and then you have trouble overcoming that, as opposed to where you don't have to overcome positive fucking enforcement in your life.
Imagine being like a child growing up with, let's say you have a mother and your father's not there, and your mother is addicted to some sort of drug, whether it be heroin or meth.
Yeah.
And somehow this has had to have happened where the system doesn't catch on, and you have that parent, let's say for 5 to 10 years, and that you're 5 years old and you grow up to be 12, and that's 7 straight years of your childhood growing up with that individual who is addicted to drugs or whatever have you.
I think
that would be intense, right?
I think it comes down to a lot. At some point, every individual, like the way that humanity works is we all need each other in some way. In some way, we're all fucking connected, regardless of whether or not how you want to look at it. You could be a fucking billionaire and feel as though you're so separated from the rest of humanity and feel as though, man, you're really only connected to your family and people of your status and everything, but that's really not true. What's true is us as humanity on this planet are very much connected through everything. So we can't do something without the help of somebody else at some point in time. So positive influence at some point, or somebody like a nurturing aspect does need to be involved at some point. Like, otherwise you will be screwed up. Like, a human being given no opportunity with just fucking asshole people around them and abusive people around them, probably their odds, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's just their odds are very slim of ending up being a good person, because all their environment is hostile. So, because this is what I'm saying, like, we're so connected, and this is why it's so important to have, you know, people being a positive influence, people being a good example of, you know, this is what you know, good morality is. As simple as saying, you know, please or thank you, or respecting somebody else, or even the lesson that you need to give before you get kind of thing. Treat somebody with respect first, and then you'll get respect. Be kind to somebody first, and then somebody will be kind to you back. If you're violent to somebody first, somebody will then respond with fucking violence, kind of thing. I don't think that seems so simple in so many people's minds, but it's not educated, or it's not like taught. This is how I think the universe fucking works. You know, I'm not like super spiritual. This is about as spiritual as I ever get. Is about what we put into the universe or fucking people, whatever, in our society, you only get back. So if you're an asshole, if you fucking wake up and you're just a piece of shit and you fucking, oh, I fucking, you know, I'm negative, and this person, I don't like the way that they're doing this, and I fucking disagree with all this, you're only going to get negative in return. If you're fucking polite to people, though, if you're polite and you're kind and you listen to people, you will be listened to. You will be listened to. Or people will listen to you, and people will be kind back to you. If you want people to like you, you have to like people, right? You can't be an asshole to people and you know, say all this shit. I know I'm going into like a huge example here, and I need to cut this off. But it's you have to give first, and this isn't what's taught at all.
No, it's definitely not taught.
Like it's not taught.
It's not.
But I think this is fundamental. This is fundamental.
It is, but how do you teach someone who's never had that opportunity to be taught?
You show them. Show them.
And how do they get showed though?
You show love first.
I feel like
so you come to somebody who's broken and you show them love, and you're like, hey, I care about you. I care about you. I care about what happened.
And sometimes that's not enough. Sometimes they're too far. Where do we catch these people? At what age do we need to find them and let them know, hey, like let's show them love at this age.
This is why education is so big. This is because you get an opportunity to fucking install this into young people at a young age when it's important, because you don't want to see them get too far gone. And too far gone is different with every individual. But there is a point to where if you expose somebody to, and their environment's horrible, and their interactions with people are horrible, and the people that they are forced to be involved with are horrible. Like, we all view kids, right? We all view newborn babies. Like, we love newborn babies because they're so innocent. They're so innocent, right? There is no evil baby. There was no evil baby that was ever fucking born. Ever. In the history of humanity, right?
No, not a chance.
Never. Not even Hitler, right? Not even Hitler. It took some environmental things to eventually, and he had to make his own decisions too, obviously, to become what he became. But him as a baby, he was still a baby, and he still had fucking opportunity to be good and to do good things. It's just environmentally and throughout his own life decisions and all these things, horrible things begat a fucking Hitler. Now you could also have the fucking debate of if you had a gun and you could kill baby Hitler, you know, him as like a 1 month old, because you fucking do that. There'd be some shit too. We're not going to get into that conversation, but that's I'm just trying to establish how important it is to have some kind of positive influence there, and to have somebody teach you that we are all in this together on this fucking planet.
You're right.
We're so in this together.
That's the missing part. Is that message is never relayed in any way in America is that message ever relayed when you grew up as a child?
No, because
we're all in this together.
That it's so separated. That oh man, you're right, and these people are wrong, and that it's a separated thing, and you got to stand to these morals and dislike these people and like these people because these people are like you, and they're fucking not like you, so you need to, don't like them. No. This is all us.
Yeah,
this is 100% all us, man.
Like why are all us? Why are we debating left or right?
Yeah, and no, it's fucking stupid. It's fucking stupid because I've talked about this on previous podcasts.
Oh yeah,
that between being evil or good has nothing to do with whether you're fucking a libertarian or a Republican or a fucking conservative or a fucking feminist. You can be evil and be any one of those things, and you can be good and be all any one of those things too. That's not what it comes down to. It comes down to so many other things, and being. I think it comes down to you have to, first of all, love other people. Understand that you have to, whatever you want in this world, if you have to fucking give it first. If you want to be liked, you have to like other people, and give them. If you want to be heard, you have to listen to fucking people. It's this give and take. We're this moving like almost singular thing that you can think about, and I know that I'm not even doing this well right now as opposed to like what's going on in my head. I'm a little off on this. No,
it makes sense. It makes sense. It's so frustrating that how easy it is for you to think of something like that, and not even the fact that it's a thought or it should be thought about, but it should be reality for who we are as a civilization. Because at the end of the day, we are all one person, like you said, basically. We are all in it together. We are all in this place we call Earth. And why do we not all have the same common goal? Because it seems to me that it's just money and greed, and it's who has the most amount of money, no matter how you look at it, it's who's on top. And I know, okay, maybe I'm wrong, because some people do enjoy the lighter things in life, whether it be Earth, wilderness. Well, I mean, I guess that's basically it.
Nobody would take their fucking 65-inch, like $3,000 fucking TV, their fucking brand new fucking Porsche, their $1 billion fucking home, fucking all this, but nobody else fucking that likes them, and they just get to sit and drive that car alone and sit in that fucking house alone and watch that fucking TV alone, but no other human being wants to fucking be around them. They live a miserable fucking life.
No. Okay.
The most important thing is us communing as human beings. There's something so deep about us interacting with each other.
What would happen
if we are
connected? What would happen if that happened? What would happen if whenever you were in grade school and they taught you, said, hey, love everyone in your classroom? Not one teacher growing up in elementary school ever said that. If I'm an elementary school teacher, the first thing I say is, everyone in this room, you should probably love each other.
Do you know how misconstrued and how there are individuals that are extreme on one side of some shit that would say, right when you say that, kids should love other kids, all of a sudden now they take it to like a sexual level or like some shit, and then it's all of a sudden it'd be so like broken. This is what I want to throw out there really quick, because people will misunderstand the word love of what I'm saying right now. Love is understanding a person and caring about them regardless of what they say. That you could completely disagree with them on any level, but as opposed to hating them, you can still love somebody that you completely disagree with. You completely disagree with this individual. You could disapprove of their morals, but you could still love this individual. That is a possibility. You could still have this shit to where we're still human beings fucking here kind of thing. That's what love is. That's what love is.
Is it possible for everyone?
I think love is this very diluted word in our society.
Is it possible?
It's a connection.
Is it possible for everyone to be connected?
No, it's not possible.
Why?
Right now. Not right now.
Not right now, but so my question is to you, and we've hit this a lot in podcasts as well. In no way, shape, or form am I saying I want a utopia, Jesse. I'm not saying that right now.
Because
what I'm asking though is if everyone were to get along, and everyone was taught that love is the number one thing, right? And we somehow find a way to transcribe this into our elementary schools, and people catch on to this. And let's say in the next 50 to 100 years, there is no violence. What does that mean for us?
And that's what I'm saying. That's
what does that mean?
That would be fucking huge, and that would be awesome. So that's the thing. So like, if you love somebody, if my mom, like me and my mom had a sit down conversation, we had polar opposite views, and we had this heated argument, right? We wouldn't come to blows because we love each other. At the core of it, we realize we're family. We're connected. Even though we have two opposing very views, we're not going to go to war with each other. At the end of the day, you know what? Yes, we have opposing views, but what's more important is who we are as human beings, and that love and that connection that's there. If there was more of that, that's what I'm saying. It's great to have opposing views. Opposing views are developmental, but if you have the understanding to love somebody else, which is to understand that, you know, they could be flawed in some way, or, you know, even though you disagree or something like that, and you still take that and you continue on, and you have that shit. That's so important.
I know, man, and I think it's very important that we do that. But for you to answer my question, I think what I was really going for on my side is the fact that what would life be like if everyone got along? Not in the aspect of a utopia, like I said. I'm strictly just talking about if everyone got along and there was no
if
violence.
everybody loved each other in the same way that I was talking about, like how I could disagree with somebody that I really care about, but even though we have opposing views, we still at the end of the day understand we're human beings, and you know, everybody's living life differently, picturing the world through we have a very limited view because it's only through our own eyes. We have that understanding, and at the end of the day, we can come to the consensus that maybe nobody has it right, but we need to care about each other, and we need to, you know, exactly. We need to keep working on it without fucking violence,
the world would be a lot better.
A lot better.
A lot better. And I think everyone agrees with that, but how do we get to that? And that's the biggest question, and I don't think anyone has the answer for it.
No.
And I don't think we ever will. At least in the next 100 years, I don't think we will.
What does it take to make a connection with another individual, right? You have to go through...
No, you don't have to do... You say, hi, how are you? It's that simple.
But it takes more than that to really... For somebody to be... all of a sudden go from, hey, we can have opposing views, to, man, I really don't like this guy, to, wow, I care about this guy, but we have opposing views. You got to go through some shit together, and you got to see their character. Like, you know, you got to go through some shit with some people.
It's true.
True character has to come through.
It's very true, but I think along the road, it shouldn't be that way. You don't have to go through leaps and bounds. I should be able to sit down and have a conversation with Barack Obama. And, yeah, I wouldn't agree with a lot of the things that he's done as a person, you know, to the extent of how much he really truly had control as a president. I don't know. That's up for debate. But if he truly believed the way that he believes about healthcare, you know, and just changing so many people's lives in that aspect, and negatively changing people's lives.
Do you think he's... as far as a big name that you disagree with the most, like just the big name you disagree with the most?
There was a lot I did agree with him, and there was a lot of things I didn't agree with. I wouldn't necessarily put him on the top as saying he's the person I disagree with the most, but regardless of the fact, even if he was the person that I disagreed with the most, for the topic that we're talking about right now, I should be able to sit down and just be like, hey man, like let's hash some stuff out. Like, let's talk. And, yeah, maybe we won't agree on a lot of things, but when I go to bed at night, like, I still want to love you as a person, and I still would never want to do anything terrible to you or anything like that. Like, I think that's what I'm trying to get at, because, oh, God, I just got it, too. Emergency alert, flash flood warning in this area until 7 a.m.
Yeah, I'm worried about my fucking house.
Bro, that's
flooding right now.
That's Donald Trump, bro. That's his new emergency alert system at its finest, bro. Probably. Who knows? It's rained harder, bro. It's rained way harder. You know?
It's just good to let you know that, fuck, I live in the basement.
Yeah.
For all nice. The TJ listeners out there, I'm a basement goer. It's a finished basement, but it's still a basement in an old house. Oh, I'm a little worried right now because I'm not home. I have some worries. It'll be all right.
This house is just as old and no issues.
There you go. There you go.
But I understand your concern, man, because I used to live in the same room that you live in. So, did I ever do any sort of drugs in that room? No, I never did.
No.
Did I ever take any mushrooms or smoke weed in that room? I don't think I did, man.
No. I will at some point though.
If I were to do drugs in that basement, it definitely would have been mushrooms for sure. It would have been very trippy, psychedelic-y.
Do you think the world would be a better place if everybody just all at once just took some shrooms together and interacted? Like if you were forced, like
once a year, everyone in the world has to do shrooms.
But be like a random list to where you had to go, like you happen to fucking pull the card to where you get flown out to India, and you're in India with a Russian and a Pakistani. You know, I don't even know if that's a derogative term. Somebody from Pakistan. Man, the Bush administration has got me all kinds of fucked up.
That's lit, dude. That's lit.
Yeah,
you're right.
And then you're just with this cultural, like you're in a completely opposite end of the world with a bunch of individuals that are also from opposite ends of the world, and you fucking take shrooms, and you're like you have to hang out together, and then like eat some food and fucking make your journey, and you trip, you trip on some shrooms and you interact with each other. How much like beneficial you would be, you'd find out actually how human everybody actually is what I think it would end up being. But
that'd be interesting. As long as you could tell me if I'm with those people there would be no violence, I'd be 100% okay with it. Because if I want to take mushrooms with someone who's from Russia and someone who's from Pakistan, I have no idea if they're trying to fucking chop my dick off or put it in my ass. See, I'm not down with that, bro.
It's so bad. Like
I know, but that's where we're at. If you can guarantee me that won't happen, I will trip with those dudes and I will have a good trip.
I think what ends up happening is we have this horrible view on other countries when it ends up being that other people from other countries actually are pretty much just like me and you. We just want to have, we're just doing our shit over here. We have our hobbies. We work hard. You'd find that we are much more than the bread and butter of the world. And even though we don't speak the same language, we do the same things realistically, like differently, but we do the same things. I want to see the world more, connected. And I don't think, I understand everybody's culture is different, and all cultures need to be appreciated, to an extent. But man, it's difficult. I just wish that you could have people with two opposing views didn't have to call the other person a fucking piece of shit and fucking have to go and kill the other person about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's my idea of a utopia. Is let's have people with two different views, two different moralities, not have to fucking make it to blows, and understand that they're just human beings, and they're just human beings on a spinning planet,
if everyone
out in the fucking universe, and it doesn't have to fucking take killing each other to fucking get anything resolved. Like
if everyone were to trip mushrooms, I think that might be more of a possibility than if everyone were not to. I've tripped mushrooms a few times before in my life, and I know, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to say it. I have the balls to say that I've done mushrooms,
I have to.
I mean, like, that's big, man, because if this podcast were ever to make it big, I'm jeopardizing a lot of things, man. Just being,
You're right.
being open and completely open with who I am as an individual, man. And that experience, it's slim to none, man. It really is. The thought process that you go through is very extensive. It's very.
It's weird having to deal with yourself all of a sudden, right?
Yeah, it's like you're able to view yourself as who you are, as someone else, and it's like you're not even yourself. Like you're able to know who you are as a person instantly, especially when you're hardcore in the trip and you're tripping. Like you're able to dissect yourself as a human.
Oh man, it's not that I dissect myself then and there. It's mainly after it's all said and done, and I look back and I start questioning. And it's always whenever I come off of it that I start questioning, why did I think this way about myself, or why did I think that I was perceived this way by other people, and it's very much this me on a social interaction basis with the people that I'm with at the time, and I think in a different way. And it is very much an internal fucking experience too, because you have this there's always this internal battle, like whenever you're deep, you're fucking tripping balls and you're having to deal with a lot at the time. It can be overwhelming, but it's always within yourself that it's overwhelming, kind of thing, and you struggle. I think a lot of times it's called like a loss of ego. Whenever you have a loss of ego and you start questioning who you are, like why am I thinking this way? Why am I, why is this upsetting right now? Kind of thing. It's a very confusing process, but you can take away a lot from it in the end, I think. Just like anything else can be overdone, by the way. Paul, are you on the same page with me that we're not advocating just heavy psychedelic use or anything like that, or anything of the sort?
No, definitely not.
We're and we, it comes down to the individual too at the same time so much. I felt comfortable. I thought I felt comfortable with me as a person to trip psychedelics outside of weed. I'd smoked weed a bunch of times too in my early youth, but I thought shrooms were developmental for me, because it made me wonder, why was I so worried about these people and how they perceive me, kind of thing, because I was immediately so worried that I was acting weird, that I was going through this experience, but I was worried about, man, if I was just open and honest with how I feel about this experience, they wouldn't understand.
But the first time that you did psychedelics, though, was it like that? Or
yes. It was very much like what brought me out of it, and what really like made it difficult for me was how other people were perceiving me while I was on it. So I had to become secluded. So then I had to immediately take myself away from them, and I'm like, oh man, this is so heavy. Like, they're not going to understand what I'm dealing with right now, and I'm worried about their perception of me. When what I really should have done was just been myself and understand that I'm not something that, I'm worried too much about people and how they perceive me. I took away so much from that the first time, and I still dealt with it after a couple times of tripping mushrooms. I've probably tripped mushrooms like 10 times from the age of like 18 to like 23, like within those 5 years, probably like close to twice a year with shrooms, and it was always kind of this thing to where it was this. I always kind of came back to other people perceiving me and them not being okay with what I'm doing. And it wasn't even like I was doing anything. It was just me being me, kind of thing. Like I wanted to express myself, but I was so worried about criticism. I was very worried about it. It's so weird. I understand this. It's very difficult.
I don't think it's weird or difficult. I think because I've experienced the same similar effect of mushrooms, and maybe that's just the effect on the human psyche.
But it's great for you in the end.
It is, because like you said, it questions your ego. It questions who you are as a person, and it makes you, like you said, I mean, it makes you the way you think about it. Like people, like you're worried about how other people perceive you, and I think that's a beautiful thing about the experience of taking mushrooms, is the fact that you think about every move. I was in a room with like 8 of my friends, and the trip was so intense that I had to leave the room and go down into my own room and experience this experience by myself, because in my eyes everyone was judging me at that point.
I know exactly how you feel.
Yeah, and that wasn't the case, because everyone was experiencing it in their own way, but.
And we all wanted you to stay.
Yeah, for sure.
I was there with Paul during this trip. I remember this very specifically.
But like, I went downstairs and like I was able to reflect on myself, and it was in a different. And that's the beautiful thing about mushrooms. It's a different trip every time.
Isn't this so weird that we're talking about, like, you can get like blackout drunk, right? You can fucking drink till you black out and make horrible decisions, but you never hear people, oh, I take mushrooms, and then now you're talking about interpersonal thought. And then you just want to be stationary because life itself is so overwhelming, and you're trying to figure out where you're placed in this world, and like what your meaning is, what your meaning to yourself is, how other people perceive you. Like you have all of a sudden all these other, don't get me wrong, very overwhelming thoughts, but thoughts you would have never had before, right? It makes you extremely vulnerable, but through that vulnerable state, you're able to develop, because now you get to come out of it, because it's not forever. we have this, everybody's had that moment, like people who've tripped a bunch of times. Everybody's had a little bit of that moment to where you're like, oh my God, I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to I'm ready for it to be done. I just want to go back to normal life, But after you're done with it, you go back and you think about, man, why did I want it to be that way? Why was I so distant? Why did I, want to get away from these people while I was here? And why did I feel it? It causes so much thought. There is so much and it's not necessarily clear thought, because it can be a little distorted too. But you have clear thought afterwards, and you get a better piece of yourself. I've learned more about myself from psychedelic trips than I have just me sitting down with, and I would love to sit down with a therapist at some time too. But I was like, it's a therapeutic thing, and I'm not saying it's going to be a therapeutic thing for everybody. I think me and Paul both agree, once again, this isn't just something that you should delve into, and not, we don't recommend this.
But I think for the average person, and anyone in America, I think 9 out of 10 times, if anyone were to take mushrooms, you would experience the same experience that we had.
Yes.
Not entirely to the T, but you're going to go through the same you're going to go through the same transition that we went through.
Yes.
And you're completely right. Why are you able to drink alcohol, which is, you're clueless when you drink alcohol, I mean, there are times where I feel fucking fire, drinking alcohol, and to be honest, I mean, like we
what inner perspective shit do you gain upon yourself from fucking drinking alcohol?
And that's the thing, like, man, like
there's no new discoveries with drinking alcohol. All you're doing is reinforcing some shit, and probably with a little bit too much passion ends up coming out of it, to where it's,
I mean,
you don't feel vulnerable in alcohol. It numbs you.
Yeah.
If psychedelic experiences make you fucking feel vulnerable, and you have to fucking deal with yourself. You got to deal with yourself. You have to deal with a flawed individual
for the first time ever, especially for people who've never tripped before. Like you're gonna have to face yourself for who you are.
Yeah,
you will have to face, and you will.
It's scary.
It's will.
Scary as fuck.
It is very scary.
But it's developmental in the end. It really is. It can be very much developmental, and it can be used for good. I'm not saying that. Once again, it can be misused, just like anything else.
Imagine someone who's sober their whole life. They go, and they're 80, 90 years old, and they die. And they never take drugs or anything like that.
Mm.
Imagine before they die, they trip some mushrooms at 85 years old, and they're about to be on their deathbed, and they're about to die, and they fucking trip. Like, you're going to go through some shit.
Yeah, probably.
You're going to go through a lot of shit.
Either that, or they're like, oh my God, I've been way too hard up about some shit.
Yes.
I should have been way more fucking chill. Like this life is so broad and so expansive. Yep. That's another thing. It just expands it takes you out of just, we do so much of the mundane shit every day. It takes you out of that. It puts you in some other place to where, yes, you got to deal with yourself, but it makes you think that, man, this world is only the fucking drop in the fucking bucket. There's so much more.
It puts you in
There is so much more.
It puts you in a place where you can reflect on yourself. You cannot, I mean, maybe you can do that through meditation. Maybe. I am not a hardcore meditator. I've never gotten that far. My extent to meditation is very limited, but I think that would be the only way. Or maybe these those new beds that enclose you and you're in salt water. Maybe you can have some sort of reflection like
not
that.
Not even close. Everybody's heard of the stoned ape theory.
You haven't done it yet? I haven't done it yet.
I'm going to briefly get into the stoned ape theory. So
we went over this, man.
We have.
Yeah,
okay.
Like evolution basically is like yeah.
But I really do think that psychedelics have its place within society.
Well, they're here for a reason, right?
Yes. Anything that grows naturally has had there's a reason why we need to ingest things, to sustain ourselves. Why not at the same time beneficial? Like, you can cure an ailment with something, there's a reason why psychedelic trips happen. And just the fact that it's labeled as, oh, man, this is reckless. People who think that taking a psychedelic is reckless and that you just go crazy and, like, fucking drive your car. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure somebody fucking has at some point. But more likely than not, especially given my experience, you take some psychedelics, you're not doing a whole lot. You're not leaving the fucking house. You can get drunk and be confident and get back behind the wheel of a car. If you're on some fucking psychedelics, you have a whole lot of fucking... the way that your mind works is you're worried about survival and fucking, like, where you are in the fuck. You're not worried about getting back behind the wheel of a fucking car. Like, trust me, there is some shit that is way worse.
We just the mental aspect that we've been talking about and the psyche and the benefits of all of those things are amazing. We haven't even touched the surface, and maybe it's not a big surface, of, like, just the things that you see.
Oh,
and
shit.
I'm not even talking about...
You're talking about the actual visuals, experience.
The visuals.
The visuals.
Like, I'm not talking about you're going to see a leprechaun or an angel or fucking Peter Pan or something like that.
Doesn't happen. People that tell you that shit, well, they're on some other shit.
Some acid or whatever. But, like, mushrooms, like potent mushrooms, like the visuals, they are beautiful. They truly are.
So fucking beautiful. To literally watch, like, even the idea of time kind of fades. If you do enough, you even feel this, because we're all kind of prisoner to this time. Like, to watch it, all of a sudden time is no longer a thing. I've literally felt time go away before, to where it's time is no longer existent, and it's just me, my mind, my soul, and fucking, it's just this confliction of who I am, and it's so, that for me was frightening. The worst experience I've had, and it's not even a bad experience, because I came out of it, and it probably what was only 15 to 30 minutes of me thinking that time had stopped had felt like days almost, whenever I finally like came back to it, and I was left alone with myself, kind of thing. And it was such this heavy spiritual experience for me. If you want a spiritual experience, don't read a religious text that was written 100 years ago by somebody who lived life, through their eyes. Why not find your own spirituality and take some psychedelics and then sit there,
like 2 grams of mushrooms,
and then experience a very spiritual, spiritual experience.
It is. And once again, you can't have a bad trip. It can't happen. But you have to go in with it with the right mindset.
And honestly, a good trip should be a little bit of a bad trip too, because it should be developmental. You should use it. Yes, it should be. You should take it with other people, like-minded people around you, in a very safe environment. You shouldn't take it and go out to fucking Olive Garden.
No.
I never understood. Like, I love Hunter S. Thompson. Hunter S. Thompson. Would I ever try to implement anything that he did in his fucking books or in real life, to where he's just on heavy psychedelics and cocaine and fucking and wild turkey, and then you just go out and fucking to Las Vegas and then fucking, try to find the American dream? That seems a little ridiculous. I think it's misutilized. It's misutilized in our society. It's beneficial. It can be misused, but
if it's used the right way,
the right way, it can be very beneficial.
Yeah.
To every person, and it should be nothing to where, it's weird to say a doctor can prescribe you, some antidepressants, but to be able to, like, sit down with you, and you take a small dose, and then all of a sudden have your mind, all of a sudden start working in a different way to solve a problem that you would have not come up with yourself, because all therapists do anyway is try to help you figure out your own problem. That should be much more supplemental of, like, a one-time thing.
Your therapist is mushrooms. 100%.
Legitimately.
It really is.
That's happened
multiple times. And like you said,
times.
if you take a small dose, like let's say 1 gram of some potent shit, Like, you're not going to experience that crazy high. You're not going to get like if you microdose mushrooms, right? Or like take a little bit of it at a time. Like,
I've heard of individuals
and
microdosing.
You take enough to where it mentally makes you think about shit that you wouldn't need a therapist. You wouldn't.
Now, I will say this: I do not know if I'm for microdosing it, strictly because
I don't either, because I've never done it. But
this is my one big thing, is because there's not enough data on microdosing something like that. Like, I'm not saying people who are microdosing right now are,
it's
you're
mainly
putting yourself
acid,
in
right?
health.
That people microdose.
They mainly microdose
and
LSD.
Yeah.
But they do microdose shrooms too. But that there's not enough data behind, and you don't know if it like we know one thing, like for people like me and you, we've gone through heavy psychedelic trips and have come out perfectly functional human beings.
Yeah.
We come out on the other side almost laughing at the idea of, being a functionable human being, and we feel so good, and a little bit enlightened almost, and even more functionable.
And for all we know, and not even for all we know, the reason we are today is because we have tripped mushrooms.
Yeah, because we trip mushrooms.
And we've had that experience. Like, dude, music on mushrooms.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But this is what I don't want to sit here and condone microdosing shrooms, because I don't know, or even like LSD, and we haven't even really touched on LSD at all. But I do not want to condone that right now. There are people that are very, go ahead and do that. It makes your mind work. The human mind, long periods of time and not having a single spike, like having a 4-hour trip, intense spike, as opposed to having a year of this being implemented into your mind, could have for all I know, could have a negative effect. I don't know on long term. But human beings, this is what I can say. Human beings, pretty much since written history, have fucked around with psychedelics. This is undebatable. That they have had very intense trips, and these are some of the wisest people that speak words of absolute wisdom and love, and end up being nonviolent individuals too in the end. So I can attest to that. So I
can definitely attest to that. I mean,
yes.
I've heard like the smartest people in the world, scientists and shit like that.
Yes.
Fucking take psychedelics. They take mushrooms. They take LSD. They try DMT. They try it all.
But you never hear of microdosing. To be honest with you, you never hear of ancient microdosing. That has not been a thing. They've had intense trips. So I'm not. But at the same time, just because there's not data there, that I can't say that this is just okay too.
Yeah, I've never
because
heard
we don't know the long-term effects of shit and how it's meant to be taken. But
to try mushrooms for one time, like once a year, I think that's completely.
I think with if you feel as though in an unpressured scenario to where you think that you are ready for a possibly fun experience and an enlightening experience, is what it should be in the end, good or bad, no matter what, that you take away something from it, and this is how you should be prepared for it, is if it's your first time, like if you're curious about, doing something illegal, like taking fucking mushrooms.
Which shouldn't be illegal.
It shouldn't be illegal, but it is. And that's the black market for it's fucking awful. Like, our government should not, it should not be illegal, in my opinion. I've given my libertarian fucking stance on all drugs, basically. But I think it should be your right if you're ready for this as a human being, and you want to try to discover some new things about yourself that you never thought of before. I think you need to come into it not be braced and ready for some shit that you have not experienced yet, and it shouldn't be just like I think it's in an instance you could use it just for some fun with some friends, but I think what's much more beneficial is if you're with some people and you're ready for to figure some shit out about you, kind of thing.
If I were, I mean, I've thought about it many times. Like, if I'd ever be ready to take mushrooms again, And having a family now, I don't know if I'd truly be able to do that just based upon what society says about it. And the fact that I do have a child, and doing it in a house where I have a child, it would be tough. It would be tough. If I could take a week's vacation and my wife allowed me to go out and experience this one more time, I think I would. I truly do.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Obviously in a setting where you have to take care of a child, you should not. Yeah.
No, definitely not. But if she allowed me to do that, I think I would. I truly do, because I would love to go down that road one more time, because I think I have a lot more wisdom now than the last time that I did it. And it would be interesting to know what my ego says now about me, as opposed to like 8 years ago. I think that would be fucking awesome.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you. Curious as well.
Yeah. I would love to find some DMT and take that, because I would truly.
Oh my God, that's the last thing. That's the last thing. That's the last thing for me. Is DMT.
Yeah. I mean, that's 15 minutes of your life. It's nothing big, nothing drastic. It's not mushrooms. It's not an 8-hour experience. It's hardcore 20 minutes.
But so I get a little bit of understanding whenever people talk about like a DMT trip fucking lasts forever, but it's at the same time it's over instantly, and then you're right back here.
Yep.
It makes so much sense, because I've had that loss of time feeling, and it's so frightening. But it's much more intense with DMT. I couldn't even imagine just like all time is gone, and then to no longer be here, and then it's my last thing. I'm ready for that. I'm ready for that adventure. Like, I've been ready for that adventure, actually.
But they make it extremely hard to come by. And the most frustrating thing is that they used to have salvia, which was a very fun drug. Back when I was like 18 years old, you could literally buy it at a gas station.
There are people who did stupid shit on salvia. I almost think that was...
You can't do anything on salvia, bro. You hit that shit, like, you were down for the count. Like, you're not moving, Like, people pee their pants and shit like that. But, like, you go to another world, bro. Like, Spawn. Like, you go to Spawn. 100%.
That's so aggressive.
Like, dude, like, it's not. You can't even describe it, bro. Like, the first time I hit some salvia, bro, I was sitting there just chilling in this garage with a whole bunch of friends. They put it in a little bowl with some weed and shit. I fucking, and literally, bro, like, there are no words to. I mean, it's a dream times a million. Like,
what do you recollect from it though?
I mean, it was
specifically.
It was unearthly, bro. It was unearthly. I mean, it's like what's that movie with Matthew McConaughey? Like Interstellar. Yeah, it's like at the very ending of Interstellar, where you're in a 4-dimension or whatever world he was in, and he was just floating, and somehow just managed back.
You think you felt the next dimension?
It was, yes.
There's some kind of connection.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of speculation about whether or not psychedelics connect us to the next dimension or not. I think there is some kind of connection.
I agree, 100%. I think if you were in space and you were to hit some fucking shrooms, ooh.
Oh God.
What's up?
Hopefully, so we know weed is going to be legalized. We will we know weed is going to be fully legalized within our lifetime, obviously.
Sure.
That me and you will just be able to go fucking buy a blunt, and then fucking we just can't drive. They'll make it a way to test whether or not you're fucking stoned or not. Which don't get me wrong, it should be taken just as seriously as drinking.
Someone who gets in a wreck,
driving.
Someone who gets in a wreck smoking weed, they're gonna hit someone at 20 miles per hour. So
no, it still impairs your driving.
It does.
It does. It still should be taken seriously.
Not as much. It should be taken seriously, but not as much.
I think the alcohol drinking and driving is taken too seriously too. For somebody that can have a beer and fucking all of a sudden their life can be fucking ruined.
I agree with that too.
If they drink one beer and they get back behind the wheel of a car and it was 30 minutes ago, and they could blow over a ridiculous amount because the breathalyzer is a flawed fucking way to actually read somebody's true impairment.
For sure, it's man-made.
Yeah. So outside of all that, it's still, you should not get fucking super fucking high and fucking drive a fucking car either. The same way. No, whether or not you're saying which one's more dangerous or not, either way, it still impairs you, and impaired driving is still, to an extent, really bad.
Having a child,
about the laws.
Yeah, having a child now, I'm pretty okay with having all the laws in place that are in place with my daughter being in a vehicle with me. You're right. You're 100% right. Yeah. I don't want anyone high driving around.
No.
When I'm driving with my daughter. No.
I mean, shouldn't be.
And I think that's why a lot of these laws are in place when it comes to vehicle driving, is that there are children involved, very young children, and they need to be protected because they have no say. And I completely agree with all the laws when it comes to driving. 100%.
Yeah. No, drunk driving, yes.
Yeah.
I don't want
to driving under the influence.
I'm not going to get
driving under the influence
of anything. Of anything. You should be smarter than that.
Yeah.
Be a smart
Drive
individual.
sober, yeah. 100%. I mean, yeah, drive sober.
Just drive sober.
There's so many things in place now for you not be able to do that.
You have internet at your house, fuckers. Yes. Trust me, you can get drunk at your house and be perfectly entertained.
You have internet
in front of your fucking phone.
You have internet in your pocket at all times.
Yeah, you don't need to be driving fucking place to place and shit like that. You don't. And get somebody, if you do have to go somewhere, fucking have somebody fucking come pick you up.
Yeah.
There's Ubers.
Exactly.
There's Ubers. I remember one thing that's fucking beneficial living out in the city is you can get drunk and you just walk fucking 4 blocks to a fucking bar, man. Or better. You just hop all the way around.
Yeah, I mean, you're in the city, man. There's unlimited amounts of bars. You're good. You good?
Oh wait, so this is what I was gonna fucking ask you. So clearly, weed, if for some odd reason that within my lifetime that weed is not fully legal to anybody that wants to smoke some fucking weed. And like we were talking about regulations, like there should be regulations. You shouldn't be able to fucking hit some nasty wax and fucking get back behind the wheel of a fucking car like nearly passing out and fucking no. That's not okay. There should be regulations. But weed should be fucking legal, right? Yes. Are we ever going to see now what's the next step? Probably shrooms, right?
You would think.
Is it going to be in our lifetime?
No. If weed took this long, shrooms are going to take double that time.
You'd be surprised. Fucking shit speeds up, man.
It's very true. You're right. Maybe the millennials are better than we think.
They are. It'll be old, though. Like, we'll be old. We'll be like 60 years old, and then fucking shrooms. Like, we'll just go down and fucking pick out some shrooms.
I'll be an old folks home popping those shrooms.
Fuck yeah, dude. If I'm old as fuck, if I end up old as fuck, and all I can do is fucking just like if I'm very not like don't have a whole bunch of mobility, shrooms is where it's at.
Oh, I'm hitting.
You want to go some places? Could you imagine like having that feeling? Like you feel like you move sometimes. On fucking
dude,
on some of those psychedelics, you want to feel young again.
Yeah, I'll be on my
I'll
be on my deathbed. I'm about to die, and I'll have someone like Phoenix's son or daughter.
People on their deathbed should be able to do whatever the fuck drugs they fucking want to do. I don't give a fuck what it is.
My daughter's gonna
motherfuckers have a month left to live, and you're gonna tell them that we just gonna pump you full of morphine. No, if they want their mind alive and if they want to do some kind of psychedelic, that should be their fucking right.
That's what I'll do, bro. I'm gonna ask my daughter, like, you get me some shrooms real quick, please.
Yeah, she'll run down to the 7-Eleven and grab you some shrooms, bro.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Her name's Phoenix anyway. She's born with a psychedelic.
Yeah.
Fucking, baby. Fucking name or something.
Hey, hit the fucking subscribe button. Hit the the bell notification.
Yeah, what was that thing I was supposed to keep alive?
Ring the bell or something?
Stay fly and ring the bell.
Yes, do that, please.
Do that.
It's a good podcast, man. We hit 2 subjects, and please comment below. Let us know what you think. Hit the like button. And all my junkies out there, stay alive.